Okay, I do have to ask, am I the only one when looking at this character getting major Snorunt vibes from Pokemon? Because if that isn't the most humanoid Snorunt looking character I think I've seen in a hot minute, I don't know what is. But what an episode of Iruma, because here's the thing, I've always really appreciated the whole like manga joke when it comes to story time with Iruma. Just the fact that he has to like read it. I mean, it was more of like a season 1 thing for sure, but the fact that just the whole concept of human storytelling, bringing it to the demon world, just naturally you would say, oh, you know, if it was more demonic stuff, sure, they'd probably like it. But the fact that they kind of twisted the netherworld and demons on their head, and so many of them are so soft and cute, the fact that telling them like romance manga, like shoujo manga stories, I mean, it's just a recipe for absolute adorable success. But when you introduce a character who's guarding this egg-looking object, I mean, immediately I was like, oh shit, we're in Iruma on Titan here, because it's a giant-ass hand coming crashing down as soon as you pick it up. Clearly, Iruma has never watched Indiana Jones or any show when picking up the object usually triggers a booby trap, whether a giant boulder coming to roll you over, or in the case of this, a giant sphinx hand to come a knockin' and basically make you flat as a pancake. But I love the fact that it's actually a pretty interesting test because either A, you're gonna get your ass beat, or 2, you can, well, give him a piece of knowledge that he doesn't have. The issues when it comes to someone who's been in the demon world for thousands of years probably, there's nothing you can say. I mean, at one point the character's like tries to tell a joke. We can't understand any of it, but clearly we can tell is absolutely hilarious, at least for it. And the Sphinx is like, yeah, you know, I've already heard all the jokes before. I can't even laugh at jokes anymore. It's kind of heartbreaking. I actually had no idea what direction they were going to go. It probably, in hindsight, I should have saw the whole manga joke coming. But I think even if you assume something like that would happen, I don't think anyone probably assumed we'd have a play in quite the way that we witnessed. And I really like that about this episode because it's a very Iruma way to solve an issue in an unconventional way that no demon ever would. I think that's what makes him so perfect in this environment because naturally, how would someone go from having no points to the most points by the end of this Harvest Festival? Well, the answer is most likely getting an object that is so safely guarded, no one would be able to fight it to take it and no one would be able to give information to take it. Iruma being Iruma, well, seemingly he's already one step closer to getting the ultimate prize that no one ever has before. I like that it all just kind of makes sense when you look at it from how the show has always functioned since day one, and the fact that in the most dramatic way possible, Iruma de-escalates it in the most adorable, if not, what the hell are we seeing moment. Flustered bumping in and just all the different panels come to life. It was a brain blast moment from Jimmy Neutron when it came to Iruma, and I absolutely adored it. Though I will say the thing I was most interested in seeing was why our two boys were seemingly eliminated. I saw a lot of people say like, oh, what if they're just pretending to be eliminated and there's like a big brain play? I was like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. But I like the fact that the way they got eliminated was through physical contact. And if you would have told me that last week, I would have been like, that makes no sense. Like, these aren't the characters who would get into a fight, in my opinion. But when you have someone who can make up this, like, illusion, this kind of prying into someone's fears, multiple of, like, his deepest and darkest secret, his brother here, and the fact that he ends up kicking, I mean, the fact of the matter is, as much as you may want to say, damn, that was a cheap move, I mean, we're literally following two characters here who are scamming people out of their points prior to this. Like, it's all about being scummy, being a scam artist, scumlord, whatever you want to be, because there's very few rules to this Harvest Festival, but the one that is very, very important, which is no physical contact between students, especially in a violent way, I mean, obviously we can see how that can happen and how they start eating their fill because what else are they to do in that moment? It's a very interesting concept that in hindsight, again, hindsight being 2020 of course, it makes a lot of sense, but I don't think you can really see it coming until you actually get the reveal to it because honestly, prior to them revealing that, I was like, oh, they're gonna like reveal some big brain play or, you know, we're gonna hear it inside their internal monologue or something. So I thought it was pretty clever. And just to have an episode like this, because now we're officially in the second half of Iruma, or maybe you could say next episode would be the second half as it's a 21 episode anime, right? But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't feel like we're anywhere closer to knowing when this arc will come to an end, because just based on how long we've been a part of this arc and how long one day took to last, it feels like so much is happening, but so little time has progressed. But it's now we're at a point where, with Iruma having arguably the most important object in this competition here, he very well could start propelling himself and, you know, almost feel like he's the boulder coming crashing down on all the other opponents for him. And it'll be interesting to see. I imagine the bow will come in clutch at some point. I was expecting the bow to come in clutch this episode because when I see a giant beast trying to flatten him like a pancake, I was like, well, if there's ever been a better opportunity to use your new amazing bow power, this is probably it. But instead, he used his Iruma logic of like, hey, you ever hear about this shoujo story? Reimagine it for you with my professional actor here to the next to me, and it's absolutely fantastic. Like, I mean, a lot of people have been saying it, myself included, but this is hands down the most entertaining Iruma season, and if you would have asked me what was my favorite, I really think seasons 1 and 2 were more or less equal, just in terms of my own personal enjoyment. The thing, though, that each season has done progressively better is characterization and getting you more accustomed to all these different perspectives. And that's why earlier into this season, some people saying, oh, you know, there's not enough Iruma, so therefore it's a weaker season. But Iruma, the story of Iruma is all about the misfit class. Iruma, yes, is the most important, but seeing how all the characters have really improved both on their ability side, but also the maturity of them. Really, if you compare the misfit class compared to the beginning of this show to where they are now, they actually feel like people that you want to root for rather than just weird characters that either make you roll your eyes, they might infuriate you, or they're just comedy. That's all they are. Now it feels like everyone, you kind of want to wish that they all could win in their own way, right? But the fact of the matter is, someone from the misfit class is going to be number one. It's crystal clear, and that someone is most definitely going to be Iruma. But I think the way they progressed to getting him from absolute bottom to now slowly kind of like rocketing up to the top, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I'm really excited to see where the last stretch of this arc will go, and most importantly, how this season will wrap up, as we do have 21 episodes for it, right? So let's just say 3 to 5 episodes to wrap up Harvest Festival. Where would they go? A mini arc starting a new arc? Because we know we're going to keep getting Iruma seasons. There's enough for like another 5 seasons, I'm pretty sure. 3 to 5 seasons worth of another 2 core seasons, right? And the manga's ongoing. So they're going to keep making it, clearly. I mean, you don't have a production committee have 3 back-to-back 2 core seasons unless the thing's turning a profit. So I'm kind of curious. Maybe a mini arc, maybe a setup for what's to come. I don't know. The one thing I'm very excited for is to see everyone's reaction when Iruma does launch the bow. Because if that doesn't happen in the Harvest Festival, I would be shocked. As it stands, I would be disappointed if we didn't see it, but it is Iruma, and I don't think Iruma's ever really disappointed me. Sure, there's been episodes I've enjoyed more than others, but I mean, just because I want something now, if they don't do that and do something different, I believe the story would make me say, well, that's actually okay, because they just exceeded my expectations in a different way, right? But that's just me anyway. I leave another episode of Iruma just excited. I love how different this episode felt, how every character literally has a different play style for this competition, and how we finally got a combat scene against another person, and it was from the characters I would least expect it, which then in return gets them eliminated in such a perfect way, which it's as scummy as it was, you can't help but respect the hustle there. But thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. If you want to go the extra mile, I do got a bunch of live reactions going on over on the Patreon, and while you're there, you can also get video shoutouts like a few are about to get here. So we got Freezy Shinken, Graffiti Turtle, and Fox Girl. So do consider supporting the Patreon if you so wish. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.